Welcome to Eden Talk, the home of power-packed presentations and captivating conversations. Here, our discussions are dynamic, enlightening, and deeply nourishing for the mind. We delve into a wide array of subjects, from insightful book reviews to the latest in current affairs, to pressing socio-economic issues and profound theological discussions. Sit back, relax, and prepare to be inspired. We hope you enjoy this episode.
Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. This is part of a prayer, a plea, a request, a wish that God's will be done as it is in heaven. But the challenge is that for that will to be done on earth, we need, as humanity, to know what that will is. God's will needs to be implemented and executed on earth. And the implementers and executors are us human beings. So for the will of God to be done on earth as it is in heaven, requires that we human beings indeed know God's will. That can be very confusing, because the issue of somebody's will has to do with the decisions taken. It has to do with what next, in whatever situation or context we are in. It also has to do with the direction. After we know what, we need to know where or where to. And after that, we need to know how. So the will of God to be done on earth as it is in heaven requires that human beings know God's will in terms of the decision, the direction, and the doing. So we live in a tension zone. Humanity, human beings, people, the world lives in a tension zone. A consistent tension between faith and reason. What does God want? And what do our brains sometimes say He wants? Also live in the tension between doubt and faith. Our lives are continuously tested on what to believe and what not to believe. So knowing God's will, which must be done on earth as it is in heaven, requires that we know His will, in spite of the tension zone we live in. It can be confusing. Too many roads, too many pathways, too many directions. But we need to delight to do His will. The psalmist says, I delight to do your will, O God. Your law is within my heart. It requires us to delight to do His will. When we delight to do His will, we will then inquire of God what His will is. And so I'd like to propose that the prayer should actually read, Thy will be done in my life as it is in heaven. God's will versus my will. God's will versus the world's will. God's will versus humanity's will. So Thy will, God's will, may it be done in my life as it is in heaven. And how do we know it? God has revealed His will to us. We have the revealed will of God through His word and through many other things. But the word of God is the starting point to understand God's will. So we need to spend time in prayer, spend time in reading the word, meditating upon His word. Only then can we know His will and implement it and execute it and do it. And the Apostle Paul makes an interesting confession. In Romans 1 verse 10 and in many other places, he says, always in my prayers I make this request. If perhaps now at last, by God's will, I may succeed in coming to you. So Paul wanted to go somewhere, and he needed to know God's will. And so in his prayers and his requests, he wanted to know God's will so that he could know what to do. So the prayer should actually read, may your will be done in my life as it is in heaven. And only then can this be done.